Welcome to the Zaleski Sports Show. I'm your host, Rachel Zaleski, and today we're going to be talking to you about high school spring sports, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the NFL. It's all yours, and it's all now. So, Jason, we had over 20 inches of snow this past weekend. Any chance that we have any outdoor sports this week?
Nope.
What? Why not?
Absolutely none. Well, the baseball fields, the soccer fields, the softball fields, they
Can't
are.
even see them.
They don't even exist right now.
Oh, that's a
Just
shame.
in our minds only. Now, as we look at the pictures here behind us, though, we did find some kids, and thanks to Melanie Joy 80 on Instagram for sending the pictures our way, we did find some sports happening.
They look like
in the
they're
snow.
having some fun no matter what.
Yeah, that's about it. So you'll be on your own for at least the next week. It'll take at least this week, probably even all of next week, to get the 20 inches down to nothing, and then to condition the fields and all that. So just hang on. I think it's coming, but as people that watch the show on a regular basis, and there aren't many, say that this is postponement season.
Oh.
No. And of course, I'm joking. I thank you all for watching the show.
Thank you.
We have a lot of fun doing it, and I know they have fun watching.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a while, Rachel.
Okay.
It's going to be a while. So just hang tight and send us your pictures, though, and we'll make them part of the show every time we can.
Absolutely. So moving on to baseball.
Okay.
How are the Milwaukee Brewers doing? Are they living up to your expectations?
They are living up to my expectations, and that is to say they're below 500 right now. Now that's. I thought they would be a little bit above 500 by the end of the season. They are going to have some struggles. Now, there are injuries right now. All right, there's a whole host of Brewers that are still on the shelf and will be for the coming weeks and for Corey Knebel the coming months. But with all that being said, they aren't, even the players that they have now are struggling. Jonathan VR, I hear all the time, get him off the team. Well, and every time somebody says that, you got to make sure that whoever is under him is somehow better, because if he was better, he'd probably be in the starting lineup. But there's weak points on the team and some things happening right now. The Brewers are only ahead of the Reds in the standings. The Reds are in last place. The Reds on Sunday night hammered the Brewers 10-4 in Milwaukee, and so I don't know. That's the Brewers right now.
All right.
All right.
Hang in there, Brewer fans.
Well, you're going to have to hang in there, and these guys will get healthy again, so long as somebody else doesn't get hurt in the meantime. But right now, we'll see. They do play the Reds again tonight, they're probably playing right now, so we'll see what that turns out to be. But if you can't beat the Reds, you got big problems.
Big problems. Yeah. All right, so word has it that the NFL draft is happening soon. So where is it? When is it? And what do we need to know, Jason?
All right, so the 26th through the 28th, that's just in a couple weeks.
Of what month?
Of April.
What?
Just in a couple weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
So soon.
As I look at my Swatch watch here, we're less than 10 days away from the draft, and that's pretty exciting. We're big football fans around here, especially big NFL fans. The Cleveland Browns are on the clock. They have the first pick. Now, we'll see. They've got a lot of picks in this draft, but there are some teams that maybe have their eyes on that first overall pick. Some teams like the Giants and others that want a quarterback. The quarterback would be had with the first overall pick, and maybe the Browns will give that up. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I happen to think the Browns will keep their pick. All that happens down in Arlington, Texas, Rachel.
Ooh, I've been there.
AT&T Stadium, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I prefer NFL Network for my draft coverage. I know some people watch ESPN. Some people watch the Zaleski Sports Show. We will again this year have a Packers draft expert to be named. I think I know who it is, though. They'll join us next week. They'll give us a Packers draft preview. I'll give more of a preview in general. But we're gonna have some fun. Football. It's April, but the draft will happen no matter how much snow is happening here. The draft will happen in just a couple days.
All right. So just a little bit of engagement with you people. So in the beginning part of that segment we just were talking, Jason said, looking at my Swatch watch. So if anybody...
No time to chill. Get it.
If anybody out there knows what a Swatch watch is, go ahead and send us a picture. We'll put it up on our screen, and Jason will explain what it is if other people out there don't know what it is. It's just fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Deal.
So speaking of the draft, I know that each team has a certain amount of time limit to make their pick.
Right.
So, because mistakes happen. It's
Oversights.
Okay. It's okay to make mistakes. But let's just say a team forgets to make a pick in enough time before that time limit is up. I mean, mistakes happen out there, people. What would happen?
Well, I think what should happen is that team should be kicked out of the league immediately.
You do not.
That's maybe what should happen.
That's terrible.
So, yeah, and in certain rounds you've got less time to make your pick. But the first round is where everybody's watching, right? And everybody's keeping an eye on things. And those are the most important picks. So what happens, Rachel, if the pick is not made? Well, we'll see on the screen here behind us some of the hullabaloo that happened here about 10 years ago when, I don't know, the Minnesota Vikings forgot to get their pick in on time. Now, of course, they've got a different story for what happened. They claimed that they had it in, but they were negotiating a trade, and they just...
There's always a backstory, and for all the questions to ask on the Sports 101, this is the one we decided to ask. So,
well, if you've got a question for Sports 101 next week, send it in now.
Yeah.
info@ZaleskiSportsShow.com is the best place, or just comment on Facebook if you're watching there. And we'll talk about whatever Sports 101 you'd like to talk about next week. But, yeah, that's what happens, Rachel. So the clock expires. The next team gets to pick. You get skipped.
Yeah.
And you continue to get skipped until you get your pick in. So you could have one pick made ahead of yours. You could have all of them made ahead of yours. So that's what we could have. Or
I highly doubt that a team would allow a second pick to go by.
Or you could just do in 1998 what the New Orleans Saints did and just trade all your picks. Trade every single pick you have for one player.
Wow.
And they traded for Ricky Williams. That was one of the best draft memories of my lifetime. And then on Sports Illustrated, Mike Ditka was the coach of the New Orleans Saints. Take a trip down memory lane here. Ricky Williams out of the University of Texas had just set the all-time rushing record in NCAA history. And so they were both kind of flamboyant. They were both fun personalities, maybe flamboyant, a little bit raucous at times. If anybody remembers Coach Ditka, and he's still around now, he's an interesting fellow. Well, anyway, Sports Illustrated had a little bit of fun with those two. Had him in for a photo shoot. Ricky Williams had a wedding veil on, and they were hand in hand like this, getting married in football terms. But that's what you could do. So if you're worried about skipping a pick, just trade them all for one player, and see what happens. Maybe trade them all for Case Keenum or Aaron Rodgers or
enough of that.
Stephon Diggs.
Quit talking about my Vikings.
Some other.
Stop it. Is it? No, was that ended up being a good pick?
For who?
For that team.
For the Saints?
Yeah.
The Ricky Williams? Kind of. I mean, you trade all your picks. You want the guy to win NFL MVP for 10 straight years, I would think. And
right.
Ricky had his ups and downs. Actually, probably had better years as a Dolphin than he did as a Saint. And that was after some time. So, in retrospect, the Saints probably wish they hadn't done that.
All right. Yeah. Well, this has been one of our shortest shows, but thank you everyone for watching. You've been watching the Zaleski Sports Show. I'm your host, Rachel Zaleski, and this is our sports expert, the one, the only, Jason Zaleski. You can follow us on Facebook at Zaleski Sports Show or on Twitter at Zaleski Sports. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Have a good rest of your week.
The draft is coming. Go Sports. You.
I don't know. I just read it. I just read it once.
I know how to use the phone. I just don't care about Instagram.